Hey guys, very special Soul Speak Visions today. Brian here, and also a good friend of mine, Trey Falco. Friends for 10 plus years?
Yeah, they're about friends back in
Like 8th grade?
8th grade, so about around 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. So yeah, about 10 years.
10 years. A wonderful, great friendship. We were in a band together for a while.
Did a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot of great stuff, man. One of my very best friends. And he is here today to speak on anxiety.
Yep.
And I will be interviewing him. And I'm very excited about this interview. So let's go ahead and get the ball rolling.
Okay.
Could you tell me a little bit, Trey, about your initial experience with anxiety and what it felt like when you realized, crap, something's not right,
Yeah. So basically, I didn't know it was anxiety at first. My dad's got diabetes, and so I'm used to his sugar dropping, and so that's kind of he gets shaky, lightheaded, things like that. And so initially, that's kind of what I thought it was. And my parents took me to the doctor, and basically had me tested for all of that, and it all came back positive. So it was really weird, just the fact that like I was having these symptoms, but there's nothing really wrong with me that they could tell.
Right.
And it wasn't until actually, so I drank a Rockstar, an energy drink, and I was at band practice. We're in this garage, and sounds are bouncing off the walls. It's not insulated. It's cold. I'm jamming a guitar, and I've got the China cymbal in my ear, and
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, just sensory overload. It was crazy.
And I remember this.
Yeah. And I completely just freaked out. The heart started beating. I couldn't breathe. Lightheaded. I had to go lay down, and they actually thought I was having a seizure because I was shaking so bad. Of course they didn't know what they've never seen one, but I'm just sitting there shaking.
Yeah, it's general knowledge. A seizure is
shaking,
uncontrollable shaking, but many people don't realize anxiety also. It's like the chills, but on another level.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, feeling overheated, and you can begin shaking, and it's not as severe. It's obviously not.
Yeah, it's more like you have a seizure, like convulsions, whereas anxiety, it's really like just being cold, like you're freezing.
Yeah, or vice versa,
Yeah,
hot.
or hot. Yeah, very hot.
Or at the same time, and I've experienced that. It's kind of a weird thing about anxiety. Feeling like excessively like hot, but also cold. You're gonna grab the coat, and then you're gonna want to open the window.
Exactly.
Suddenly, you're burning up.
Yeah, and it was it's terrifying, man. But before that, I had experienced anxiety more just being nervous. You know what I mean? It wasn't a full blown like panic attack.
Yeah,
if you will.
Right. One could say possibly a precursor for what was to come, and sort of, in small steps, having a nervous stomach, being...
And it just built, what I mean?
Not simply, as far as, like, school and stuff, you had mentioned to me earlier, about anxiety about going to school.
Yeah, exactly.
Not simply, the assumed notion, of being a lazy student, you actually... Yeah. And I can say from personal experience, I experienced the exact same thing. So I resonate with you on that one, man. Going forward, having had these experiences with anxiety, having had the panic attack, and just is this something you deal with consistently, or on a day-to-day basis, or you have in the past? Is this something
so
still around in your life? Or?
Well, thankfully, it's a lot more manageable now. But yeah, that was back in 2012, I guess. Well, no, probably 2013.
We're in the band, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, man, it was something that I live with pretty much every day,
It's common.
And it's kind of one of those things, once I was over that edge, I was over that edge. There was a constant fear of, what if it happens again? What do I do? How do I
Right.
you know?
Yeah,
And it was
'cause-
that day in and day out, and it was a cycle. It just fed itself.
Yeah, I completely understand that. It's like
Yeah.
it's something that, you know, if you allow it to, it repeats and repeats and becomes even more.
Oh yeah, it'll consume you.
It's like an invading sort of monster. Or
Yeah. It's like a parasite. I mean, it just lives there and it feeds off of that energy. I mean,
Right.
It is that energy.
Yes, yes. I mean, it is that energy, and we can, you're gonna interpret it as something fear-stricken and something, terrible and something, completely mind-numbing. And in my experience, this was sort of a demoralizing thing.
Oh yeah.
This made me
definitely.
feel defeated. I felt weak. I felt as if the Brian that I knew was no longer truly there, and that this anxiety was going to define me.
Yep.
And I think that's where people get hung up, if they have anxiety.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because they believe that, everything now must cater to this anxiety. In a way, it's almost like an addiction that you never chose.
Yeah. Oh no. I can definitely
dependency.
agree. I mean,
And, obviously, it's a little bit different than, the addiction that we know. But, just like depression, people that are prone to depression, in a weird, twisted way, they like to be sad. Or not really.
Yeah.
I've been that way. Not that it's uncommon.
It's like, at least from my experience, when I felt anxious, that was normal.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, when I didn't feel that way, I wanted to feel that way because that's all I knew.
Right.
Even though I would be completely at peace and I knew that's what I wanted, it almost catered to being something worse. You know what I mean? Like there was something wrong because I wasn't feeling this way. You know what I mean? And so I kind of had to feel that way, and it took a lot of just reconditioning my brain and my thinking to realize that no, this is abnormal. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't be panicking all the time. I should be,
reclaiming your life.
Exactly. And so, like, as an addiction, I, in a weird way, craved that anxiety because to me that was normal.
Right.
That's just what I knew.
Had become the norm.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's really hard to just kind of get out of that habit.
It's like, you're in a maze, and it's all you know, and, eventually this thing consumes you, and you identify with it, and, you slowly lose your sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
And, I totally get that, brother.
Yeah.
I totally resonate with everything that you've said so far. And, I know for sure, there were a few years, that I've spoke about before on Soul Speak Visions,
Mm-hmm.
About when I lost my soul. A lot of that had to do with anxiety and, getting up and going to work every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And this has more to do with me than the situations that were at hand. But, anxiety was just there.
Yeah.
And, anxiety became like a roommate living inside of my mind, residing within the part of me that, was supposed to be catering to my own growth, you know. So, I mean, I get that, brother. I mean, anxiety is something that, it builds on itself, and it's...
And it just keeps building and building. It's a cycle.
It is a cycle. So, like you've said, this is something you still deal with, yes.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a lot more manageable now.
Right.
I've come to...
Could you speak about the management techniques?
Yeah. So, really, one day, I was laying there and I was having panic attacks, trying to fall asleep. I would wake up and have a panic attack. I mean, it was awful. And one night, I remember just laying there, and I just remember going, you know what? I'm tired of this. And this won't work for everybody, but I mean, for me, I just hit that point that I was just so low, and I beat myself up. And like you said, the old Trey just wasn't there. I'm something much less. I'm just this self-pitying, it was terrible. And I just hit a point where I just said, you know what? I'm done with this. I mean, I kind of like, you're sitting there and getting the, snot beat out of you, and then you just kind of stand up and fight back and go, whoa, wait a minute, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
And it just, I hit that point, and that's what it took for me.
You hit a wall.
Yeah. And from there, through videos and other things, I learned that it's really a mindset. I mean, the best way that it was always, or the best analogy that I saw that I really enjoyed, you take the sky, okay? Yeah. And you've got this beautiful blue sky.
Yeah.
And then...
That represents you.
Yeah, that's you. Yeah. So you are the sky.
Okay.
You're there. You are ever constant.
Right.
And then a rain cloud moves in, okay? And now it's storming. But the beautiful thing is that rain, those clouds are not a part of the sky. They're in front of the sky.
Right.
They're shrouding it, but the sky is still there. There's still that part of you. You are the sky, and so you have your anxiety, your depression, all these storms that come along, and yes, they pass by you, but they are not you. They don't define you.
Right.
And that for me really hit home, and it was something that it changed my mindset on seeing, because I thought I am my anxiety. My anxiety is what defines me, and it took something like that to realize that no, my anxiety does not define me. That's not who I am. And it helped just really restructure that thinking.
Right. So you bounce back from that. You build back from that. In a sense, you reclaimed your sky, or you realized the sky that you always were, regardless of the clouds and the different. Like you said, your sky is your sky, and that's it. That's the final thing. Regardless, you cannot be defined by the storms to be weathered. And, that analogy fits perfect in this conversation related to anxiety and sort of the toll that anxiety takes, and the sense of personal displacement of having your mental self or your spiritual or emotional self be sort of, engulfed and taken over by this anxiety.
And I'd also like to point out that you're not, even though I hit that breaking point, I wasn't done with anxiety. You're not going to just one day, I'm better. No, it's small victories. It's taking it one day at a time and going, today, however bad your anxiety, it might be, today I'm going to go outside. And, I'm going to walk around the neighborhood. That might be, and then next week it might be, I'm going to take a trip to the store with a friend. Yeah. And then the week after it might be, okay, well, I'm going to take a trip to the store by myself. Whatever your anxiety may be, it's those baby steps, and it's taking those measures to get better. Yes, because you really, if you just sit there and go, well, I hope my anxiety goes away, it's not. You can't be passive about it. You can accept it. There's a difference between accepting your anxiety and being passive about it.
Exactly.
You accept that it's there. You say, okay, that's fine. I'm feeling anxious, but I'm still going to do this because it's what I want to do, or it's what I need to do.
The only way out is through.
Exactly. Yeah.
You go through these things, and you take the necessary measures to allow yourself to overcome these anxieties and things. And like you said, Trey, it's not one day a magical genie takes the anxiety away and I'm cured, but the freedom that you desire from anxiety, better yet, the sense of liberation that you desire is solely something you create.
Exactly.
And it's a conscious choice to, like you said, the little victories and moving forward. And today, I'm going to do something to alter the course of the future, so maybe I can deal with this anxiety better. In a sense, I think anybody that's open and willing and really dedicated to their own recovery as far as mental health goes is someone that becomes an expert on anxiety. And you learn anxiety, and you realize you're not as strong as you used to be. Anxiety, you don't take as big of a toll. Trey, that's where the strength lies. That's your sky, as identified through the analogy mentioned before. Yeah. You're not defined by these little shortcomings and blemishes and perceived failures, And guys, if you're out there and you have anxiety, which it seems like a fair amount of people do have anxiety.
Yeah, I was about to say, statistically, I think it's very common.
Yeah, behind depression, I think the most common, the mental disorder would fall into anxiety, whether that be generalized or social or, related to, I think PTSD sort of falls into that
Yeah.
a little bit. That's a little bit more involved, and I'll speak about that later on in another video. But if you have anxiety problems and you feel like you feel like you're stuck, my advice for you would be to try to avoid the common, the victim mentality, and try to pinpoint within yourself wherein the strength lies for you to overcome this, and to make a better life for yourself. And like we said before, control the controllable, within your realm of free will to be expressed, because there's enough factors out there and, variables that are unpredictable that
Oh yeah.
are going to get you down. So why wouldn't you take advantage of the opportunity to
Control what you can.
help yourself? I mean, Trey, do you have anything to add, like as far as advice to others dealing with anxiety? Or
Well, and I know I got tired of hearing it, but I mean, it really is a mindset. As I let these negative thoughts consume me, I've built up negative energy. I mean, and really, that's kind of, even sometimes I still deal with that, and it's just getting in the habit of identifying those negative thoughts, whatever they may be for you. For me, it's in particular my health. That's just what physical health.
Okay. No, that's
that's
just
just
your
mine.
first line of defense.
And so it's identifying those and trying to put a more positive spin on it, whether it be, hey, that's irrational, I don't need to actually, this is what's, happening, that kind of thing. And I think it gets into, if I may, that kind of, I know people know the saying, it's very famous, I think, therefore I am. And, a lot of people take that to mean, because I am able to think, that must mean I exist.
Right.
That, but I want to take that one step further, and I also think that it can mean that our thoughts, our way of thinking, defines our reality, if you will, to an extent. So if you're constantly thinking these negative thoughts, you're going to be negative. I mean, you're going to have negative emotions. The way that you perceive, or not perceive, but the way that you exude that energy, people are going to perceive that negativity. They're going to feel that. I mean, it really is an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
On the flip side, if you think more positive thoughts, if you can switch from negative to positive thoughts, it's a more positive energy that you feel. Which is more manageable. Instead of I feel like I'm dying, it's I'm very excited. Yeah. And there's very much a difference, because when it comes to to that panic, like when you get excited, what happens? Your heart races.
Yeah.
Your pupils dilate. You get tunnel vision. You're excited for something.
Stimulus overload.
Yeah. When you're having a panic attack, your heart races. You get tunnel vision. Your eyes dilate.
Yeah.
Stimulus. So it's the same thing. You're just perceiving it in a negative manner. It's a negative. Yeah. And so if you can flip that mindset, if you can, and it's not gonna. You're not gonna one day go, oh, I get it. No, it's gonna take
easy,
time. It's practice. It's practice.
Yeah, and it's never gonna be a perfect,
No, I still have
art.
days where I struggle with it, man.
The craft of dealing with anxiety is, in and of itself, is nothing to be perfected, only reimagined and recreated within, the limits that you ultimately set for yourself, as a healthy being, as a self-sufficient, functioning being, and anxiety sort of hinders that function.
Yep.
So, the opportunity to function at a higher level, as you said, allow a positive mindset to further create positive results, and allow you to, live a life that exudes positivity, and that, creates, speaking on energy, you continue this positive energy. You define the energy that you choose to create. I mean, generally going forward, I think you set yourself up for, at least little success and little victories, just give yourself a chance, the mind, within the equation of this whole anxiety thing, and this monkey on our back, the mind is ultimately the centerpiece of what could become what could make or break you, per
Oh, yeah.
se. You know,
No, I definitely agree.
I mean, it's like you're walking on a wire, you know, and what's holding you up is your mind, but also what's dragging you down could very well be your mind.
Yeah.
You know, so it all kind of starts with you. You know, not to say that anxiety is defined by you, but more of anxiety is just, you know, a minute shadow,
Yeah.
you know, as compared to the whole grand scheme of who you are and your soul and your spirit, you know, and your emotional self, your mental self, your,
Mhm.
you know. So, I guess wrapping up, you know, overall, I mean, do you have anything else to say regarding anxiety? Do you feel like you want to recap, sort of a brief recap, you know, about what we've
Yeah,
spoke
so I
on?
mean, basically, trying to think. Like a good wrap up. It's all about a mindset. I mean, that's pretty much what I've.
Right.
And I know that's. You hear that from everybody.
It's simple.
I'm not saying, you know, just get over it, you know, because, you know, or just don't feel that way, because that's dumb. You
Well,
can't.
that's insensitive. You
Yeah.
know? You don't
No.
want to.
What I'm saying is take the initiative to have those small victories.
Right.
Because, I mean, you're never going to be 100%.
No.
You know, I mean, that's
Yeah.
impossible. We're not perfect.
I have anxiety almost every day.
Mm-hmm. Same here. But the difference is it's manageable. You
Manageable.
learn those, whatever works for you.
Right.
One thing that works for me probably won't work for you. Akin to, for you, vegetarianism or running every day. You know, whatever it is that you do that helps your...
Yeah.
might not work for me or might not work for somebody else.
No.
It's finding those small victories for yourself.
You cater to yourself and your own individual needs,
Yeah.
and you know who understands yourself better than you.
Exactly.
You know.
And then just one final thing I would like to say is even though you have this anxiety or this depression, whatever it is, it's terrible. You're in this dark place. But on the flip side, when you come out of that,
it
makes you stronger. Yeah, you're a new you, and you can better appreciate the positivity, the light, because you've experienced those deep depths.
Exactly.
So even though I know you're suffering, I know it's terrible.
Yeah, it's not fun, guy. I mean,
no, but
yeah.
It's not for nothing. You're going to come out stronger, and it really is. I mean, at least for me, looking back on all of my very dark anxiety,
yeah,
you know,
dude, right?
everything that I went through, and I'm still sometimes going through. Living in the positive moments, I cherish those more. It's really for all that
you've gone through to be where you are.
It was still worth it, and I honestly wouldn't change a thing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's just it's a part. It's made me who I am.
It's a personal success, and it's something to be proud of and happy about. You know, and
which I know you're not going to be happy at the time, but you can look back and say, "Look, I've made it." You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, this is not to say that you reach some finality and final result. You're simply in the process of managing anxiety, just like you would manage any other issue with dependency.
Yep. Or
any other sort of affliction. You know, this is something,
whether even a physical affliction, you manage that.
You manage it.
It's the same thing.
Right. You're not. You know, there's no true sureness and exactitude for it's not like one day anxiety is just going to be completely gone. That would be pretty cool, but there are ways to manage it. Wrapping up, I mean, so you don't regret, or you wouldn't trade your anxious experience?
No, because going through that, it's made me realize things about myself that I needed to change, just for a better, just a positive health-wise, just mental health, even physical health, things that I've changed, because going through that made me realize those things. It's kind of like you have to hit your lowest low to realize how far you need to climb.
Right, it's a process of sort of just the highs and the lows of life, and it takes that depth of darkness sometimes to realize, the lightness within and the possibility for furthering lightness in your life and managing and creating a life full of light and, hopefully happiness and management and, understanding your condition and understanding how to better yourself and, not fall into that victim mentality, and truly become stronger based on the experiences, even the negative ones, Everybody...
Go for it.
I'm just saying, if you're dealing with anxiety, or if you ever have, or if you're dealing with it now, or any, mental disorder, any, mental illness, you are a warrior. You are stronger. You're stronger than you think. You're stronger because of it. And, you will come out stronger, and you are a warrior, and there is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. That's all, that's the gist of it,
Just remember, even if you fall back into it, that doesn't mean you're weak.
We revisit demons sometimes, whether we are conscious of it or not. It, life is a, sort of a cyclic unwinding from this, crazy array of different patterns, positive, negative emotions, and, great joy as well as great sorrow. And, why would we ever want to, what else could life be? If every moment was perfect, we wouldn't really,
That's what it means to be alive.
It is. That better said. Rather than me rambling on. Simply put, that is what it means to be alive. I'm going to go ahead and finish up, guys. This was an amazing interview, Trey.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for speaking on the topic of anxiety. Thank you for your addition to Soul Speak Visions. I value you as a friend.
I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed you too, man. We had a lot of fun. I mean, this is one of my good friends. I don't have too many good friends, but this is a guy that's stuck by my side and for years, and I hope that I can, be half the friend that he is.
Double the friend.
Double the friend. But thanks, guys, for tuning in to Soul Speak Visions. Brian here, and I hope you have a happy holiday and peace, my friends. Thank you.